What innocent search ended up being NSFW. Period knitting. Apostrophe. What I wanted. Historic patterns. What I got. That chick who shoves wool up her vagina and then pulls it out and knits it. What the duck. Edit. I'm surprised to find out that it is not a kink thing. No. It's performance art. Which is somehow much worse. Way back in the day, when Mrs. Doubtfire was in theaters, I got super hyped on Jump Around. I found out that the group was House of Pain, and I wanted to look them up on that fancy new internet. So I went to www.houseofpain.com. It was hardcore BDSM porn, and I went running and crying to my parents to tell them so they wouldn't ground me for mistakenly going there. Looks like it's a powerlifting apparel site now. Wow, my first silver thank you internet stranger. As a network engineer, when I Google the error code in the device I now have to type out wireless access point instead of WAP. There's some LAN in this house. Need a router and a comp for this wireless access point. Back in the 90s, my sister was trying to show my mom how the internet works. She said, you can, for example, go to sites for any kind of band you like. So, Backstreet Boys, and types in BSB, com or something similar. Up pops the bare shaggy boys hairy porn site. And that's how my sister wasn't allowed to use the internet without supervision for 3 months. I feel this. Many years ago, I ordered my pet supplies from a website called Petopia.com. One missed key and I hit Petopia.com. OMG. This was the days when pop-ups would multiply from every porn site, and you had to shoot the dang computer to get rid of them. They multiplied faster than rabbits, and each was more perverse than the last. A buddy of mine used to call that a porn storm. A friend of mine had a prolapsed disc in his back some years back. I wanted to learn about it, so I googled prolapse, and ended up checking the image results. That was the day I learned that your rectum can actually prolapse. I got 7 words into this post and went, "Who I've got 3 words for you, walls fall out, don't yout a bit if you don't have at least a gallon of bleach to rinse your eyes out with later." In middle school, I remember in the school library, my friend leaned over and told me to Google image search for Z11 and then go to the 14th results page, and there were a picture of boobs that the school censor didn't block. I called bullshit, but sure enough, there were boobs on page 14. Edit. It was 18 years ago. Those glorious boobs are gone from page 14. Boobs on page 14. Anything beyond page 2 of Google might as well be the deep web. That's modern Google, where all it does is serve you ads. Google in the mid 2000s actually was useful, even at page 10. I was writing an essay about different types of oil, including vegetable oil, as a lubrication in machinery, and why some work and others don't. So I googled vegetable oil lubrication. I learned a lot, but nothing I could use for my essay. 1. Wait for it to rain. 2. Cover yourself in vegetable oil lubrication. Docking. I intended to Google the docking maneuvers of spaceships. What I got was not that thing. This reminds me of when I went looking for sounding. Meant as the way to measure the depth of the ocean. I was not ready for what I was about to find. I'm 36 years old and only learned what it was from r/Tifu post I read earlier today. When the internet was fairly new, my dad decided to print out coloring pages for my daughter. He searched for Barbie pictures and ended up with nudes of the Barbie twins. He was embarrassed, but warned the whole family about his mistake. I wanted to go the American Girl doll website as a child. My dad typed in Americangirls.com instead of Americangirl.com, which was a huge mistake. He's pretty tech savvy, so he then blocked porn websites on our Wi-Fi well into when I was in college. Who knew a small S could make such a difference? Seems American Girl has now bought that domain. Tried it and it redirects to Americangirl.com. Hairy Beaver Roman candles. Hairy Beaver is a firework brand. This would create an awkward headline if their fireworks ever caused an accident. Hairy Beaver blows of man's hand. Hairy Beaver leaves bad taste in consumers' mouths after 4th of July accident. I had an employee who was an architect student, and I let her work on her schoolwork during the day when work was slow. One day she wanted to show me a cool new material she had seen at her class. She couldn't remember the name of it, and Google image searched hard dark ebony wood to show me. I laughed my ass off. Surprisingly NSFW results for that. Actually I think there was only like one actual dick. It was mostly wood, but it was very funny nonetheless. My friend went to a library to research sex discrimination before computers were widely available. She chose a computer for blind people which suddenly said very loudly, "You typed in the keyword sex. There are over 70,000 results for your keyword sex. If you want to filter results for the keyword sex." And she quickly pressed ESC, but it was too late. Everyone around looked at her as if she was a pervert. Blind person here. I can just imagine the horror and mortification, because I know the kind of computer you mean. I'm crying. Yo. Just a question. How are you able to use Reddit if you're blind? Do you have something read you the stuff on the page and you speak to type back, or is it something else? Wife and I were joking about eating chicken noodles, which then led to chicken nudes. I searched for turkey nudes next, and forgot Turkey was a country. Okay, I think chicken nudes is NSFW too. That's going to haunt me. All you will get is chicken breast. /Q annoying laugh track. It used to be that, if you entered NASA, .gov, you would get a porn site. A coworker was trying to find the bidet company Tushy. Their URL is hellotushy.com link.com. He went to tushy.com link.com instead. That's a porn site. Close bracket. He did it on his client-owned and monitored laptop. He told us all of this immediately after he did it, asking for advice on whether he should proactively reach out to cybersecurity to explain that he was not in fact looking up porn on his client laptop. I did that earlier this year trying to order the same bidet. Did it in front of my fiance. At least it was Tushy. From what I've seen it's fairly tasteful. Imagine if the bidet site was called Hellagate. That would be a completely different story. I had a report to do on Lucy when I was in like 4th grade or something. It's an old Australopithecus fossil. Well, I Google searched that shit with my friend at his house and found some boobs. We did click on the boobs, but quickly got back to our intended study. Well, my mom got a call from his mom later that night freaking out about us looking at porn, and my explanation did not hold any water at all, so I was grounded. I'm still kinda salty to this day and feel like I was set up. How dare you? When I was a child, I wanted to practice my drawing skills by drawing some Inuyasha pictures. I hopped on the family PC and hit up the Google. I didn't know how to spell Inuyasha, and I have no idea what I did spell, but it was all internet porn. I had never seen porn before. That's when a young Inukchuk's life changed forever. These days, Googling any anime character inevitably leads to porn anyway. Why else would I Google Astolfo? Isabel Animal Crossing. Once my little cousin borrowed my laptop for a project. Later, when I was casually scrolling through my history for a link, there was a Google search for boobs and then big boobs. Guess the little man wasn't satisfied by the former search. At least he wasn't the 12-year-old kid who googled sexy 16-year-olds on his dad's work computer. My stepson did that on our iPad. I told him googling 13-year-old sex is not something I should have in my search history. Wasn't my work computer, and thankfully, even if it was him, the person who would deal with that. I was doing research on sex chromosome disorders. Pro tip, when googling 30th females, maybe include the word chromosomes in there somewhere. My 7th grade science teacher told my class to look it up. My grandmother had a small mammal living in her backyard, and I was trying to help her figure out what it was. I was using Google image search and decided to look for pics of beavers. Well, the first result was not the kind of beaver we were talking about, nor was it something you want to pop up with your grandmother looking over your shoulder. Luckily she's pretty laid back. We laughed our asses off for 5 minutes before searching beaver animal. I looked up animated dog in images and one had a dick. My bet is that approximately 50% of dogs are equipped with dicks, not animated dogs. I was taking a graphic arts class in middle school and searched for beach on Google Images. I ended up with pictures of naked men on the beach. Well, it was graphic. The very first time I ever used the internet, I accidentally found porn. This is mid-90s. I'm in the library at my school working on some group project. Must have been second grade or so. And all the librarians were losing their minds because they finally had a bunch of computers with internet access. I didn't know how it worked, but the kid next to me told me to go to Hotbot to look things up before Google. Well, this kid had a cold, so he was congested. And instead of hearing the hard T sound at the end, I heard a D, which means I went to Hotbot. I don't remember if it was com, net, org or whatever, and the first thing I saw was some blonde lady showing me what a vagina looked like. Being too young to be interested, I immediately closed the browser and let someone else use the internet instead. Edit, spelling. I wanted to make a watch the game at some bar poster. I was looking for a silhouette of people on a couch with their hands raised like score. I could find silhouettes of heads but none of the air. Fists in the air. So I did a search for fists and just got color photos of clenched hands. Tried fisting. Nope. You were looking for fist pumping. Not sure if that's safe either. When the internet was new, a lady from my church accidentally found something she wasn't ready for. She was one of those very conservative, naive Christian women. There was a church group for young boys and girls similar to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. The boys group was called RAS or Royal Ambassadors. The girls group was called GAZ or Girls in Action. She went to Yahoo to look up material and first searched GAZ and nothing of note came up. She then searched Girls in Action and well, let's just say she didn't find her church group. Back when my friend around the block and I were 8, we would go to each other's houses and go on Flash Player.com for mini games and funny videos. We forgot the name of the website and put in flashplay.com. That's when my friend and I discovered porn and the beauty of it. I once searched Pandora's box at work. I was trying to find a book and no porn, so much porn. I didn't get fired though, thank God. I'm legitimately surprised that you'd get porn first before Greek mythology. Honestly, with the amount of porn for every conceivable thing these days, I'd be surprised if the mythology came up first. Forgot to type the R in Gary Oldman's name one time. Ha brilliant. This reminded me of king size dick link. Wikipedia. org/king_size_dick. Opposite of what the question asks. NSFW search turned out to be SFW. I know I'm late, but I have the best story for this one. For both people who end up reading it. 6th grade. Mormon me is supposed to be doing a 5-paragraph research paper on some shit or another. Is super bored. At the time, my favorite thing to daydream about was a magically creature I made up that was basically just a ball of fur with 2 paws. Like a snuggly Kirby, perhaps. Looking for further fuel for this magical creature I imagine, and bored of the essay I Google. Cute furry balls. No. A friend at work was dipping his celery into a confection of peanut butter and chocolate known as dark chocolate dreams. It looked good, and I wanted to know where to get it. So, I googled it. On a Doe computer. Dipping his celery sounds like a euphemism. When we got an Amazon tablet, my 5-year-old was upset that Alexa wouldn't let us teach it his voice for the voice recognition. I tried to explain it to him simply by saying it doesn't allow children to use the voice recognition because otherwise they could say, "Alexa, show me the naughtiest picture in the world," unwittingly summoning Alexa in the process. When I heard "here are my results for naughtiest picture in the world," the panic was real. I'm pretty sure the results would have been fairly vanilla, but I locked the tablet very quickly nonetheless. I'm so curious now. What did Alexa find for the naughtiest picture in the world? Alexa is rarely naughty, you can ask them to tell you. An X-rated joke and get a joke about Ted's X-ray. I remember in elementary school we had to go to a computer lab for a project about healthy foods or something. And our teachers kept saying, Do not Google search milk, and of course there was the trouble kid in the class who did it anyway, and a couple of us got to see the results. It was a pair of very large, very beautiful breasts that had milk poured over them. That wasn't milk. It was milky though. As a kid around age 10, me and my friends wanted to make our own TCG game like Pokemon. So we thought of cool sounding nouns we could use for art. So we Google beasts, but we fat fingered the R on the search. Cue mom walking in on two 10-year-old kids who just googled breasts right in front of her, and the ensuing tears trying to explain to her what happened. I mean, your mom should have suspected it from the beginning. What 10y? Oh. Says breasts instead of boob, i.e. S. Jeeves, please can you provide me ludicrous images of breasts postest? I searched for creepy recipes / legit used to think this is some sort of cake. 10-inch screw. How about 9-inch nails? Pokemon X videos. I think the Pokemon Masters X Twitter tag had similar problems. #POKEMONMASTERSEX. #Sheeran album party. My 9-year-old searched herping because he likes looking for frogs. Instead he saw oozing herpes sauce on genitalia. Scared him silly. Poor guy. Lol. Lots of interesting videos when I was studying lactation in my maternity nursing course. Gravity Falls. Such an innocent child I was. Wait, what were the results? I'm guessing incest comics. I was looking for a picture of a pasty. I spelled it with an IE instead of a Y. Apostrophe. A pasty is a much different thing than a pasty. Save me the horror of looking up pasty, please. It's the little sticker things you put over nipples. Well, in like 2016 they made Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Pokemon S&M is very different. So, I've got a horse. A male one. I got to wondering. I mean, their junk is retractable, right? So where does it go when it's retracted? Like what structure in there is acting like a garden hose reel? So now I want to actually know this. So turn to the internet. And, I mean, how do you actually Google that? You can't put in where does the horse stick go, because this is the internet. FFS. Turns out the best words to use are equine reproductive anatomy, because everything else goes wrong. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.